Good morning. Welcome to Destination Jamaica. It's a beautiful Sunday, and we'd like to speak about a legend, a musical icon named Peter Tosh. Now, Peter Tosh, who we lovingly call Stepping Razor, is known for much more than music. He was also a promoter of Rastasfari. Now, as you may know, he was a Jamaican reggae musician and was one of the core members of the band Wailers along with Bob Marley and Wailer. He actually was in the Wailers from 1963 to 1976, after which he established himself as a successful solo artist. Now let's dive into the history of Peter Tosh. Him come from, how he got into music, and more. Now let's speak about where he comes from. Tosh was born in Westmoreland, the westernmost parish of Jamaica. He was abandoned by his parents and he moved from relatives to relatives. When he turned 15, his aunt passed and he moved to Trenchtown in Kingston, Jamaica. Now, it's actually pretty fascinating how he learned to play the guitar. He learned to play the guitar after watching a man in the country play a song that captivated him. So he watched the man play the same song for like half a day and he memorized everything his fingers were doing. Isn't that pretty awesome? He then picked up the guitar and played the song back to the man. Wow. The man then asked Peter Tosh, who had taught him to play, well. So the man was blown away and said, "Youth, who teach you to play the guitar?" And Peter Tosh replied, "Are you in a party?" Just by watching. So during the early 1960s, some Peter Tosh wanted to be a musician. He went to vocal teacher Joe Higgs, who gave him free music lessons because that's what Joe Higgs did then. He gave free music lessons to young people. Through his contact with Higgs, Peter met Bob Marley, so it's Robert Nesta Marley, and Neville O'Reilly Livingston, which is Bunny Wailer, right? So he then changed his name to Peter Tosh. And the trio started singing together in 1962. So Higgs, he taught the three of them to harmonize, and while developing their music, they would often play on the street corners of Trenchtown. So imagine them back then. If you have any videos or any memories of them singing on the street corners of Trenchtown, we would love to see, we'd love to hear, because that's history right there. Alright, so in 1964, Peter helped organize the band The Wailing Wailers with Junior Braithwaite, a falsetto singer, and backup singers Beverly Kelso and Cherry Smith. At first, Peter Tosh was the only one in the group who could play musical instruments. Then, according to Bunny Wailer, Peter was critical to the band because he was a self-taught guitarist and keyboardist, and it became an inspiration for the other band members to learn to play it. The Wailing Wailers had a major ska hit with their first single, Simmer Down. Do you remember that song, Simmer Down? Such a great song. And they recorded several more successful singles before Braithwaite, Kelso, and Smith left the band in late 1965. So Bob Marley, he spent much of his 1966 in Delaware in the United States with his mom, Cedella Marley Booker, and for a brief period was working at a nearby factory. So him returned to Jamaica in early 1967 and him have a renewed interest in music and a new spirituality. Peter and Bunny were already Rastafarians when Marley returned from US, and the three became very involved with the Rastafari faith. Soon afterwards, they renamed the musical group the Wailers. So Tosh later explained that they chose the name Wailers because to wail means to mourn, or to, as he put it, express one's feelings vocally. He also claims that he was the beginning of the group and that it was he who taught Bob Marley the guitar. So he was the first person to teach Bob Marley the guitar. And then Bunny Wailer. So the early Wailers, they actually learned to play instruments from Tosh. During the mid 1960s, Tosh, along with Bob and Bunny, they were introduced to Danny Sims and Johnny Nash, and they signed the three to an exclusive recording contract on Sims and Nash's JAD Records label, as well as an exclusive publishing agreement through Sims' music publishing company, Cayman Music. So, rejecting the up-tempo dance of ska, the band, they slowed down their music to a rock-steady pace and infused their lyrics with political and social messages. And can you guess what that was inspired by? If you said their faith, their newfound faith, then that's right. Rastafarianism inspired them to include the political and social messages in their music. So, the Wailers, they did several songs. They composed several songs for the American-born singer Johnny Nash before teaming with producer Lee Perry, God bless his soul, to record some of the earliest well-known reggae songs, including Duppy Conqueror, Soul Rebel, and Small Axe. The collaboration has given birth to reggae music, and in 1970, Aston family man Barrett and his brother Joma Claughton Barrett joined the group. They recorded the Best of the Wailers album, which was produced by Leslie Kong and released in 1971. 2 years later, 1972, so a year later, Danny Sims assigned the balance of JAD Records recording contract with the band to Chris Blackwell, an Island Records company, and released their debut, Catch a Fire, in 1973, following with Burning and Naughty Dread the same year. The Wailers had moved from many producers after 1970, and there were instances where producers would record rehearsal sessions with Tosh and release them in England under the name Peter Tosh. In 1973, Peter was driving home with his girlfriend Yvonne when his car was hit by another car driving on the wrong side of the road. Sadly, the accident killed his girlfriend and severely fractured Peter's skull. After Island Records president Chris Blackwell refused to issue his solo album in 1974, Peter and Bunny left the Wailers, citing unfair treatment that they received from Blackwell, to whom Tosh often referred to as a demeaning name as White Worse. Peter has written many of the Wailers' hit songs, such as Get Up, Stand Up, big tune, Stand Up for Your Rights, and 400 Years, and No Sympathy. Peter began recording and released his solo debut, Legalize It, in 1976 with CBS Records Company and Island Records. The title track soon became popular among endorsers of cannabis legalization, reggae music lover, and Rastafaris all over the world, and was a favorite at Peter's concerts. A real big tune that, you know. That was his last album from the Wailers, Island Records. In 2013, a book co-written by French scholar Dr. Jeremy Cobo Dagnini and American Lee Jaffe, his former associate, says Tosh was part of a smuggling operation that raised money to fund this groundbreaking album. Well, that's something. Have you read that book? Let us know what your thoughts are on the book. No, his solo career. So you know that he left the group, right? And he went on to do his own thing. So Tosh is very much known for his own music. So he went on to make his own albums with Rolling Stones Records and CBS Records Equal Rights in 1977. And that featured his recording of a song co-written with Bob Marley, Get Up, Stand Up, and a cover of Steppin' Razor that would appear on the soundtrack to the film Rockers. So Peter, he organized a backing band, Word, Sound, and Power, who were to accompany him on tour for the next few years, and many of whom performed on his albums of this period. In 1978, the Rolling Stones record label Rolling Stones Record contracted with Tosh, and which the album Bush Doctor was released. And that, you know, that album, it released Peter to a larger audience. So the album, it featured Rolling Stones frontmen Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, and the lead single, a cover version of the Temptation song Don't Look Back. So that was performed as a duet with Jagger. It made Peter one of the best known reggae artists. So remember that Bob Marley did have that One Love Peace concert in 1978? Well, during that concert, Peter lit a marijuana spliff and lectured about legalizing cannabis. So he actually lambasted attending dignitaries Michael Manley and Edward Seager for their failure to enact such legislation. Several months later, what do you think happened? He was stopped by the police as he left Skateland Dance Hall in Kingston and was beaten severely while in police custody. Mystic Man 1979 and Wanted Dread and Alive 1981 followed, both released on Rolling Stones Records. Peter tried to gain some mainstream success while keeping his militant views, but was only moderately successful, especially when compared to Bob's achievements. In 1984, after the release of the 1983 album Mama Africa, Tosh went into self-imposed exile, seeking the spiritual advice of traditional medicine men in Africa and trying to free himself from recording agreements that distributed his records in South Africa. Peter had been at odds for several years with his labels EMI, over a perceived lack of promotion for his music. Peter also participated in international opposition to South African by appearing at concerts and by conveying his opinion in various songs, such as Equal Rights, Fight On, and Not Gonna Give Up, 1983. In 1987, he seemed to have, a career revival. He was doing good. He was awarded a Grammy Award for Best Reggae Performance in 1987 for No Nuclear War, his last record. Now, sadly, Peter Tosh was gunned down at his home. I just read the entire story about this. It's very sad. It was actually the gunman was led by someone he knew who was a friend who him look out for, and in turn for him for money. And Tash never have it. And him end up kill not just Tash but Tash friends them and almost kill him wife, but she survived. Her name is Marley Brown, and she lived to testify and to help get the gunmen in prison. It's a sad story. I'm not going to get into it. It really is sad. And we're so sorry that we lost Tosh at that time, because the world was looking forward to seeing and hearing so much from him. And it was truly, truly a loss felt to this day. Now let's talk about the legacy. In 1993, Stepping Razor Red X was released. So it was a documentary chronicled Peter Tosh's life, music, and also his passing. It was directed by Canadian filmmaker Nicholas Campbell, produced by Wayne Jobson, and based upon a series of spoken recordings made by Tosh himself. It was also released on DVD in 2002, something I need to watch. So a monument to Peter Tosh is maintained by his family near Negril, Jamaica, and is open to the public. His birthday is celebrated there annually with live reggae music. In October 2012, Peter Tosh was awarded Jamaica's fourth highest honor, the Order of Merit. And he also has a museum in Kingston that you can view his work. There's a square on Trafalgar Road in Kingston which was renamed Peter Tosh Square. The square is home to the Peter Tosh Museum, as I mentioned, which was opened in October 2016. Among the artifacts on display, you should see Tosh M16 guitar. In 2015, Tosh's daughter, the administrator of Peter Tosh Estate, deemed that April 20 should be celebrated as International Peter Tosh Day in honor of his philosophy of responsible cannabis consuming for medicine and spiritual health benefits. And there is an annual Peter Tosh Gala event, and that was started in 2017. So that's it for now. That's it on Peter Tosh. He was a devoted Rastafari, a great musician, a gifted lyricist, and so much more. And we're so honored to be able to speak about him right now and to honor him through what we're doing. So that's it for now. Check out the art that we posted right here. You can get your very own print of this symbolic great piece of art that represents Peter Tosh, the man, the musician, the Rastafari, the Rasta. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comments what you think and what's your favorite song or moment of Peter Tosh. So we hope to speak soon and drop more videos, cultural, travel, historical, even current happenings in Jamaica. Thank you so much for subscribing, watching, like up the thing. We love your presence. Have a great day. Have a blessed Sunday if you're listening today, and we'll chat next time.